exciting macaron.
Oh, wow.
There you go. So you can have that.
And
That's not picking up a snake.
No, there's
in the
no
Middle
snakes
East and
involved.
doing
Yeah,
it.
it's a coding language.
It's
Yeah,
a code.
talking to him. Yeah.
Back in the day.
But in your case, on the roof with those shoes.
Right.
Guys, good evening. Welcome. Season 3, Episode 3 of the InfoMatters Podcast. Welcome back. It's nice. In with the lovely crew this evening. Wonderful guest coming up. But, of course, Danny, the business of the podcast.
Indeed. We don't know where to start tonight.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't mean with what show, what number, which we normally mess up. But the guest that's come in, we've known for a very long time. Very creative person who's going to talk about a lot of creative stuff.
Yeah.
So, welcome back to our old, to our new, to our potential. To please ring the bell and subscribe for the InfoMatters Podcast, which is powered by Extelligence.com. You'll see in the box to the right. New position-wise, we are looking for NIST 2 consultants. For those out there that knows what NIST is, then you'll know what it is.
Yeah.
It's basically network security, so it's a bit of a techie
And NIST
job.
2's coming out now.
NIST 2.
Yeah. You have to upgrade and all.
And by the time you apply for it, it might be NIST 3. So
wait and see.
if you know of someone or yourself or you're interested, just click on the link on the right. It will take you to all the information you need.
Exactly.
So without further ado, welcome back to the bunker and over to Kenny to introduce a wonderful guest.
Now, we have known this chap for, as many have known this chap for a long time here in Prague. In fact, there's probably a relatively few people. Young Mr. Adam hasn't worked
to the
with.
show, Mr.
Exactly.
Trachtman.
So good to see you, Mr. Trachtman.
In fact, you're the only person I know that wears anti-gravity boots wherever you fucking go.
Exactly.
Size 49.
Size 49 from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And as we do with all guests, you get a crazy gift. So you have got, and I'll take off the price.
It'll be a
Good
massive.
planning. I don't even know what it is, but
top
it got my
budget for a
attention. It's an
producer.
exciting macaron.
Oh, wow.
There you go. So you can have that.
Are they not cool right now?
Yeah, I think they are Labubu type things.
Right.
Yes.
But it's collectible and maybe not that one.
£8 million. I don't know what it looks like. So
episode about this. Yeah.
there you go. So with Adam, as Kenny, Adam will tell us. Adam's his background. Film.
Where do you start? Right.
Film. Tarantino, Band Apart, Lucid Circus.
That's Danny Bunyan's first business.
Yep, I had a business with my good friend James, and it was called the Titanic. I'm not going to go into more detail, but it put a smile on these guys' faces. Unfortunately, the site's down now. #James. It's difficult to know where to start.
Absolutely.
But one thing that Adam has brought to the table, we've both lived here. All of us have lived here for a long time in the Czech Republic. It's our home. Adam's going to talk to us about Immersion, which is his book. It's a book created with AI that goes back to 2017 with its origins.
Yeah.
In Czech and English, we'll put the links into the chat. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We just opened it in the secret bunker defrib room, and it went quiet because we were looking at the animations that are in there.
Yeah.
It's got a history of Adam at the end, which probably would suffice for this show, but we're going to talk about this.
Super.
So thanks for coming on, brother.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure to see you again. Like I said, the past 2 times I tried to see you. Once you're outside with the ladies, couldn't get hold of you. And the first time, literally just walked past each other. Went, I know that dude. Only for 25 years.
Exactly.
Actually lived in your kitchen whilst we were doing stuff. So thanks for coming on, brother. Tell us, what's the story behind this?
Well, the story goes back to '97. So it's a collection of stories. My first few years in the Czech Republic and traveling around Central and Eastern Europe. And they were taking place from 94 to 97. And in 97, I wanted to do the graphic novel, but I got recruited by a film company, and I started a media division of their company, and 10 years went by.
That was Lucid. Was that when you did?
No, that was Still King Films.
Oh, Still King. That's right.
We know people. That was in Barrandov sort of way. Yeah.
So I was up in Barrandov. In fact, the next book is going to be about Barrandov and so forth. But
skeletons.
But so from 97 to 2007, I was very focused on working in film and then starting my own company.
Yeah.
And then I decided to take a bit of a break. I spent 6 months biking around the Middle East.
I was going to say, is that's you on a motorbike?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was out there with his gravity boots on.
Yeah.
That's 68 Java 350 California.
I have no idea what that is, other than to look at
the
the
picture. It was the last
you know.
motorcycle the Czechs made before the communist
and you're
normalization.
And
that factory now was pulled down and they've got flats. It's called Aviatidska or something like that, isn't it? Yeah. In Smíchov.
Yeah. But and the motorcycle is at the Technical Museum.
Oh, is it really?
The very same?
Wow. Yeah.
Interesting.
But that'll be a tangent.
So, mate, this show is.
We never Never stick to the agenda. Tangents and tangents.
So I decided to bike around the Middle East to work on this. I was also a bit burnt out from work, and so this was early 2007, from January to June. And so I biked around the Middle East I went offline. No computer, no mobile phone, nothing, right?
And mobile phones then were, let's be honest, were not the smartphones they were
97?
now. No. 25 kilo Motorola.
Yeah. Well, I did have a 3310 in case of an emergency.
Nokia. There you go.
And the thing was filled with sand by the time I got back. But what happened was I was burnt out, so I needed this break, and I had journals with me, so I really refined the graphic novel down to what I wanted to say with it and what each page would be and so forth. And then I get back to Prague, and I'm like, I'm going to have a better balance between my work life and my personal.
Let me guess that.
A week later, the iPhone came out.
No!
Yeah, I remember that
Something new to play with.
Exactly. And so me and my partner in Lucid Circus, we were, getting hundreds of requests, and we were just...
That was it.
Right. 10 years went by again. And so in that time, I was working on it by hand, and I maybe got 6 pages done.
So 6 pages in 20 years?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
So I knew that at this rate I was never going to get it done.
Yeah.
And so I started looking at alternatives. And I was in touch with a group in University of Stuttgart. They had just been developing this thing called deep art. And it was a type of AI that was basically, it is still one of the core frameworks of image generation with a lot of the other things like DALL-E and Midjourney and so forth. They're all based on a lot of the old deep art code, which is open source. So I was in touch with them in 2016, 2017, and I realized that I could code in Python my style of drawing. And
that's not picking up a snake in the Middle East
involved.
It's
a coding language.
It's a coding language, and basically I could put all the parameters. And I could also, I had been taking reference photography for the graphic novel for 20 years, right?
Wow.
And so I had 10,000 plus images that I would use in the book.
You could feed into this.
Right. Yeah. So I was able to batch them, and I was also able to kind of create some scripts where I could take the images, pump up the contrast and brightness.
Blast them through Photoshop or something like this.
Yeah. So I could write scripts in Photoshop that would alter the images so that when I finally rendered them, I would get 5 degrees of intensity in each image. Right.
So you're taking You've been taking images that you've been collecting over years and then utilising the software and programs to render them.
The traditional way, before smartphone stuff.
Yeah. So this technique is called neural style transfer, right? NST. But how it's different is, like, most people, if they're using something like DALL-E or ChatGPT, that's generative. So you say, I want a picture
and it generates.
Right.
Gotcha.
Whereas with this, I am taking photographs and I'm applying the code that I've written that defines my etching style of drawing, and I'm applying that. So like when Deep Art came out, the base was Van Gogh. You could take any photograph and make it look like a Van Gogh. Okay. But then they said, here are the parameters, you can code your own styles. And then eventually smartphone apps would take those coded styles and give you the option to make it look like...
Which is in the apps we know now, you can put your filters on.
Exactly.
What's that, Snapchat type? I mean, that's nonsense, we know, but...
There are a bunch of them, from Prisma to... So basically, they were taking this idea of coding the style and allowing you to take your image. But again... you needed to have high-res
You have to feed this.
You need to feed it with images. It's not just a question of, I want palm trees and a beach. So I had the vision for what I wanted to do with the graphic novel, but what I needed to do was I needed to render all of these images in all of these different degrees. Luckily in film, I had done a lot of work with locations. So I knew how to categorize the images for referencing. So I knew interiors and exteriors, and I knew how to kind of organize things in a way that I would then be able to go in and grab the images I wanted for each page, because the book is almost 300 pages. And any given page might have 5 different images at 5 different degrees of rendering, from fine cross-hatching to heavy contrast and so forth.
And certainly from what I know of your creativeness, this is probably I don't know much about it from what I've seen. You've basically taken a book started with the pictures and written the text?
Well, no. I had back in 2007. I wrote the text. So like,
you had the journals.
I had the structure. Although I'll tell you this, I put together the imagery.
Yeah.
And then I took my text and I showed it to my editor, and he looked at it and he said, "Wow."
Put it in pictures.
No, your writing is crap.
So you'd intended it to be a memoir-ish, and then because you were pants,
because I've written in various degrees of completion and probably various degrees of shit.
Yeah.
3 books, all in a year, teaching a giraffe to DJ. That does require an explanation. It's not
I did Tourette's with pets.
Yeah, right.
Pets with Tourette's.
And my final one called Tough. All life stories. All are text.
Yeah.
And I'm sure said smartphone is full of relevant content, and you give me ideas, by the way.
I mean, you could now. You could turn.
You could turn that
feed that into.
Yeah. And they always say there's a book in everyone. But I love the foresight that you've had.
Where's the pictures the way you look at them? Because they're done as they're done as a
this is
graphic,
a perfect example.
A graphic novel.
You've got
in terms of drawn.
This photograph I rendered 5 different times, and
that's
so
Malostranna, isn't it? Going to blue light. No,
this is actually Český Krumlov.
It looks like a little doorway there to blue light.
It's the same architecture for sure. But the thing is that if I rendered the whole thing just in this style, it would be very flat.
Right.
So I needed to have one.
You've added texture and stuff.
Yeah. So I composited 5 different photographs where I basically collaged them together to give it depth and to give it the feel.
So is it like taking the same photo and passing over a different, I guess,
it would almost be like chopping it with scissors and taking like
certain parts of it in
exactly,
a collage of something.
And then the character walking down the street there to give the shot the feeling of depth and so forth.
Yeah.
He wasn't in my reference picture, so I added him later from a different picture.
Right.
This manhole was deeper. In reality, it's down here, but that would be underneath the text. And it would,
gotcha.
So there's a ton of work you need to do with every page. So the artwork took 1,000 hours to
Sure.
create.
So it's like storyboarding for a film. And
exactly.
Wow.
But if I were to draw it by hand, you'd be talking about 5-6 years.
And there's a reference. This is weird when you flick. No, because you flick through a book.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, we're doing a debrief before we came in it.
Yeah.
And it's a brief bit about Adam. I've known Adam for half my life, and you were massively into chess. And then all of a sudden, there's the chess club in Czech.
Wow.
It's just weird how you've got a reference to it. I'm going to ask him about the reference to chess. I open a page, and there it is.
I mean, and I've got, I think last count, 16,000 photographs of you and I in the piss for I don't know how many years. Right? I'm sure there's some significant relevance for the future of my life that I don't know about yet.
Oh, we could put together
I mean, I think if you and I put a book together, Danny, it would not be sellable. Or it would be, but we're going to jail. You get the point.
Well, this one is definitely not for kids, by the way. So a lot of
controversy isn't.
A lot of my friends and family who don't have a lot of experience with graphic novels, they just think of it as a comic. So it must be for kids. And they open it up and they see sex on mushrooms. And,
have you had to school them, Adam? You've had to school them.
They figure it out by page 7, I think.
And that's not going to the kids this Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, we're going back to the software using neural.
Yeah, so basically using neural style transfer, using the Adobe Creative Suite to composite everything together.
Yeah.
And then also you have different formats for standards for the US versus Europe. So in Europe, this is 18 by 28, and in the States it's 20 by 25.
So is that kind of A4 versus
A4 versus 8.5
the book
by
equivalent
11.
of
exactly and then of course the check layout. But so my editor told me in the beginning, he said, your writing is crap, and he was right. And it took me 5 rewrites to really be comfortable with because understanding what you want to say on the page when you're putting a lot of it in imagery, you have to let the art do the heavy lifting. And then you have to make sure that your voice is coherent. I was going around from first person to third person, reflecting, and then
it's talking about you versus talking as you.
Exactly. So you have to make the decision when you're doing a memoir: am I going to put the reader into it, or am I going to be the old man on the rocking chair being
talking
like,
to him?
Back in the day.
But in your case, on the roof with those shoes.
right.
Yeah. And what, on that point, what was the vision? Are you I mean, forgive me, I haven't read yet, but I will.
We only just got.
Let's get hot off the press. Are you talking about your life, or
no? You feel like you're in it,
immersed.
Hence
the immersion.
Exactly.
See what I did there?
So I'm trying to give you the feeling of what it was like. So I introduced on the first page, this is me, this is, and then you're in the driver's seat and
you had that foresight 20 years ago? I mean, I wrote books in therapy, as therapy, sorry.
I had the foresight to tell the stories, but I wasn't able to refine it until I got into it.
Because you needed 20 years of content, surely, or 10 years of content.
Yeah, well,
or did you just know your life was going to be exciting?
Well, here's the thing is that these stories are taking place from 94 to 97.
But you're saying there's 12 short stories in there?
Yeah.
Oh, only 3 years?
Yeah, so this is only covering a 3-year period. So I'm going to do more books about more of the life. It was more about the idea that like my ability to tell the stories definitely got better over those 20 years.
Sure.
And my patience, my experience, all of these things in my professional career.
Because mine fucked off.
Well, I'll be quite honest. This book would not have gotten made if it weren't for COVID, because what happened was right before COVID, I was sitting on all of the artwork. I was sitting on all of the writing. I was sitting on everything, and I'm like, wow, if I just had 3 or 4 free months.
Well, you've never been one. I mean, it's like I need to speak with Adam. Oh, good fucking luck.
Get
in the queue. The dude's stacked.
Yeah, this is the problem. I've been so busy for so long that this has just been kind of a pipe dream of something I wanted to do. And so once COVID kind of forced me to not socialize and not take on certain projects, I finally had the time to do this.
Which is, again, we're talking. We don't catch up that often, and we're just Adam was saying, to take it at the next level, which is to film. Yeah. And you were mentioning, to take it some of the big streaming companies during COVID. And during COVID, as Adam quite rightly said, well, none of the actors were in the studios working because they all had masks on and having chips and curry. Yeah. Everybody was into animation, and you wanted to animate it, but all the animators were working on films.
Exactly.
So are you the only person in the world that found COVID of use?
Maybe one of 7 or 8 people, but
globally.
Yeah,
I wish AI would have been what it is today.
I would have written all songs.
Because I would have had 6 albums produced.
Because I just back in your music days. I don't know what I would have produced. Varying degrees
Drank a lot of whiskey. Drank a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, we did that.
A lot of whiskey.
Yeah,
but it burnt the germs away. Apparently.
If you're washing it.
But how would you? I mean, to present day, you spend a lot of time. It's a lot of references to 10,000 photos.
Sure.
The way it's your filter, your design, the enveloping or layering all these pictures to give this kind of look. Which there'll be a link in the description so people can have a look and order it.
Yeah.
With the technology as it is today, would you do anything different to the way you've done it, or do you intend to?
Yeah, I mean, so for example, the technology is so much better now. I mean, even the secondary renderings that I was doing in like 2021, 22, right? It was already getting a bit better, but now it's to a point that Whisk has really been a game changer. Google's image, where I can feed in my style, but it can actually do high res. Like one of the problems was a lot of the AI that was being generated, they're tiny. You're 800, 1200 pixels. Yeah. And when it did try to do larger, it got very messy, right? Now it's getting a lot better. I would still, I don't want to do generative, so I still want to use
if you don't take it away, which is it's a unique story.
But a lot of the compositing work that took, like what took 1,000 hours to lay out this book, I'll be able to do in 200 or 300. Like it's definitely gotten a lot better.
So there's no risk of removing the Adam from the book. I imagine certainly if you're feeding it the text and the essential, the images.
I mean, the thing is at the end of the day, this is my life. These are my stories, and it's like somebody, there have been a handful of people that have done graphic novels using AI, but most of them have been using generative, so it looks very fantastical, and it doesn't really. And the stories also haven't been, like you have to put in the time, the sweat, and the stories have to be interesting.
And surely real. I mean, I'm sorry. Of course, they can be fantasy, but real life, I always think sometimes.
Well, it's a real story. Right? I mean, just down to that one picture, you envisaged it. Yeah. You took a picture of it.
Yeah.
It needs to be representative, so the plot hole's not there. It's there because that's how it needed to look. So you put the time and the effort.
You need to
translate the story.
Exactly, and so. If I'm using Whisk, but I'm also using my photograph, so I can use Whisk as a reference. I can use my photograph, so it can take my style and it can take my photograph and learn and work with it. I'm still going to have to by hand make a lot of changes. So, otherwise it would take 20 hours instead of 200.
Yeah.
And I'm fine to put in that time because I feel like the stories are interesting enough, and I would love to do it by hand. I would love to take the next 30 years of my life and do it by hand, but I know
But you have
not.
to pay the mobile phone bill.
He's Adam.
I imagine
He's Adam. He knows where the dollars are.
But I would always, from what I've seen, I'd be worried that you would, and I know you wouldn't, step away from the effort in people get hung up on the gains of using AI, and the authenticity vanishes, and their creative vanishes, and you can invariably tell AI text and AI imagery from 1,000 miles
Well,
away.
I would never use AI text for it.
Yeah.
I mean, like that just would.
Yeah, how could you tell AI?
I think that's lost in translation. The way that this is to the audience.
Yeah,
it's not the first graphic novel developed with AI. It's using AI, but a different tool set that the audience is familiar with.
Exactly.
And
as the generative, the generative. It's it's a completely different. Because I came into it, and I looked at it online, and when we were asking you if you'd like to come on the show, thank you.
Yeah.
And and I was thinking it's been fed into something, it's pulled it out. Now you look at it, it's 10,000 reference photos, the time you've taken to do it, the bike's in a museum, and the amount of hours, 1,000 hours to put into something. And it's just interesting how the tools from when you've done it, it's come out, it's here. In 2 more years, when you're doing episode 3 or the third iteration, then we're going to go to the Neuralinks.
We were just talking about that in the coffee. But before we go there, Adam, you mentioned earlier that so this is 1990 when to when?
94 to 97.
94 to 97. And you're obviously a man of our age, so there's a bit more life and stories and stuff to capture. So there's a series of.
Yeah, I mean, I can say the next book is going to be about Barrandov and about those years, and then I'm going to Tarantino it back to my days in Philadelphia, because those were the late 80s, early 90s in Philly were pretty crazy. And I definitely have some stories to tell.
Oh, we need a show. We need a show. Actually, we got 3 shows. We're going to do the film industry.
Absolutely, right. And is that leading to, and you don't have to tell us, but is it leading to something more TV-based?
Well, that's...
Or does that remain to be seen?
I mean, that's the idea.
Okay.
I mean, I've spoken with larger publishers who like it, but they want at least 3 different volumes. Got it. And preferably 4 to 5. And I definitely have 4 or 5 in me. But
time.
Yeah, it's a question of time, and it's a question because the truth of the matter is it's very difficult to actually make any money off of a graphic novel.
Got it.
Even the sales I've gotten from this have been very good, but when you compare the amount of time you spend to it,
it's wholly different.
Yeah, of course. I mean, a friend of ours, Max Munson from during COVID. He used to be a swimmer, avid swimmer, produced the book, and it was very much, you plug in some text, it gives you generic, some pictures, put in some of his own. Voila. One of my life dreams is to have a book.
Yeah, right.
Have the spine of a book on a shelf and go, I fucking did that.
Daniel Bunyan.
I did.
What would it be called?
I mean, what's the feeling? What's the feeling like when you see your book on a shelf?
Well, this is the thing. It's amazing. Cool. It's amazing. And
I'm going to scribble his name out, put Bunyan.
By the way, Max Munson, I worked on a book with him.
Okay.
Interesting.
Back in 96.
Oh, wait, hang on. Was this the Prague? No, that was there was a Prague review, which wasn't a book. It was a magazine series.
Did a little thing with the review as well. But Yevgeny Yevtushenko, at the time the greatest living Russian writer,
right?
Max somehow got the rights to the Czech version of his book, Ne umře před smrti.
Yeah.
And I illustrated it. And the funniest thing was that I was... there was a bookstore on Manesova called U Knihomala, right? And it was Russian owned, and
this is like early 90s.
Mid 90s, and might have opened in early 90s, but anyway, so Yevtushenko is in town, and we're on a panel, and it's me and Max, and then there's Yevtushenko, and he's got a translator translating from Russian to Czech, and he's using her, and he can hear that she is not translating well. And so, being the little tyrant that he was, he fired her on the spot. And he turns to Max and he's like, okay, I do it in English. Who do you have to translate from English to Czech, right? And Max has just pushed me so here I am standing next to Yevtushenko translating for him to the entire Czech press corps. And all because I did the illustrations for the book. There you go. But it was a great experience.
Prague is small. I'm actually got to mention.
Prague is crazy. I mean, you were saying that this was released in the Globe. Now, you remember the original Globe isn't the Globe bookstore it is now. It was in Holoshivica, wasn't it?
Sure. There's a lot of the Globe in this book, actually.
The original Globe.
The original.
I mean, that was a hangout. You had Yama.
Yeah.
You had, I think you had Cornucopia, which was another one of Max's. You had James Joyce, which was the original James Joyce, Radost, and then everybody used to go to the bookstore for bacon bagels and stuff like that back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, that's 90s.
Well, I've got plenty of stories.
I'm intrigued because I've been here since '96. Probably known you since '97.
Yeah.
So that is intriguing.
96.75.
Bloody hell! I've been absolutely everywhere.
Well, I find that with the book, there are two types of people. There are people that like you who lived through it, or people like you who were here a little bit later. Right? And then there are people that are like
oblivious to it completely.
Czech Republic, Chechnya, like they don't know the difference, and so when they read it and they're like interested in this time and place that they have no idea, nothing about, then that's a really great high for me, because I'm able to suck them into a time and a place that they want to then learn more about.
So it's easy to do the
only one thing I've looked on here. We never use the questions. With someone like Adam, you don't need to. And that's why I asked about it. It says, how does it feel to finally see Immersion completed and sold in bookstores across Philadelphia, Prague, Paris, Berlin, and Utrecht? I just love the fact that I use Perplexity to full out detail. And it's got Utrecht.
Yeah.
It's a lovely word.
There's a great well, for me actually, growing up, I went to a high school for creative and performing arts and art programs before that, and my art supply shop in Philadelphia was called Utrecht, right?
Oh, wow.
So I grew up, I had bags that said Utrecht and everything. And
it's a lovely place in the Netherlands.
And it's a college town, and they have a lot of great bookstores that have graphic novels, and I have a friend who lived in Prague. She used to be head of MAC here, and she lives in Utrecht, and so she was like, oh, I'll put you in touch with
there is some significance.
It's crazy how things work out. It
and
really
it's for sale in Amsterdam, in the oldest comic book shop in the world.
If I'd have known, my wife, I love, flew in from Amsterdam yesterday. If I'd have known, I'd have had to go to that bookstore, pick it up, get it. Honestly, but she goes over every month because our daughter's I was studying in The Hague. Hi, Natalie.
Okay.
So I will buy a copy because I got that one for free, which is unusual for Adam because every dollar counts. Isn't that true, my friend?
I actually am going to be in Amsterdam at the end of the month, and I'm going to bring them another batch because they sold out of what they have there.
Cool.
So I'm second opportunity.
I will get one. So I'd like my dad and Janet. Hi to Dad and Janet. I'd like them to read it because they've been over to Prague tons of times. Their son's been here since
just before
the 9th of September 1996.
You hand the book of
I'm not in it.
Pretend well, you probably were in the background to your parents. You might want to have a quick book.
I've put them through hell. So they're
I was about to say, Kenny, they know.
They're fully aware.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I can't wait to get my teeth into it. You were also mentioning before, you're from film background, that you're actually teaching.
I teach animation and special effects at Prague Film School.
See, it just fascinates me because the pictures are 1,000 words, aren't they? So I'm interested.
It does kind of breed the question.
COVID gave me art. I did tons.
You
of
did
artwork
do.
during COVID.
You should get back to that.
It's all in my basement.
But you, Adam, did you see what the? I mean, some of it was wacky. Most of it was fantastic. Some of it was. Okay.
Actually, Khaled, our producer's got one on his wall, haven't you?
Yeah, right. But you must have loads of them.
I've got loads.
Yeah,
loads. I mean, I went down the rabbit hole of
surely there
imagery.
must be a book in you around that. You might have to attribute some stories.
Again, it's that time thing. I mean, getting here was on a phone call, firefighting. There's a change fallen over. There's this, there's that, and I'm like,
you just need to start in the pandemic.
Please.
Yeah, we need to null a pandemic. No,
Trump, do it. Or China, please.
I'd love to see you whack one of your bigger prints through Photoshop without some sort of scanning device.
There's so much, and I went down to the segue from it, and I went down to get some cables, and like Kenny, like yourself,
millions of cables,
because I've got my home studio. I was since I moved to a new house a year and a half ago. and it was brand new. I'm like, right, well, I'm not going to get an easel out and paints because I don't want paint on the floor.
Yeah.
And I love cleanliness. So the artwork went in all storage and stuff into my storage room. And my home studio, which is my music studio, which is also a media studio, which is also my office.
And your office.
All the cables are downstairs. So I went downstairs. I'm like, fucking hell.
No, I've got to go in there.
They've got skis there, tennis racket, bikes, bike chains, suitcases. I'm not looking for the case. And I saw all the artwork and I'm like, shit, I miss it.
Yeah.
Because nobody knows what my mind's thinking.
Yeah.
And when you see a piece of my art, you see it differently to Kenny.
Sure.
And that's always the interesting bit.
Oh,
What do you see? What do you feel?
Are you telling us there's a book coming, Daniel?
Well,
I'd love to do something, but I haven't. No.
This is kind of originally a classical painter. When I moved to the Czech Republic, I was making a lot of art as well, and I noticed there was a big difference between the Czechs and the Germans. Right, a Czech artist would go in his cabin for 5 years, and he would create a whole bunch of stuff, and he'd have a show, and he wouldn't title anything, and he would just say, "This is my work, and if you like it, great, and if you don't, F off."
Yeah.
And the Germans, we must work together. We're going to have a day.
He's really good at accents, right? Yeah.
So we talk about what we do every day, and so it was all about the actual process, not about the work itself.
Not the result. But yeah.
And which was one of the reasons why I kind of I shied away from art school and left it, because I was about the work. I wasn't about the process, and also I didn't want to talk about it. It's kind of like even with this, when it comes to the book, you read it, you get something out of it, and you're going to get something different than you are. But I don't need to talk about it because it's not important what I think.
No, sure.
It's more.
For me, it says it all. Lived here. I've lived a different way.
Sure.
We've hooked up so many times over 25 years, but we've led different lives.
Oh yeah.
So I'm interested to see. What you've pulled out of it and what I can relate to.
And this is the thing, the themes in the book are chess and motorcycling and art and travel.
Yep.
And some people who lived here lived that life, and other people only took one aspect of it and have five things.
I can't play chess. That's the only thing I can't play chess.
Right. But there are things other people lived their lives here.
Yeah, Max lived it different to me. You lived it different. I lived different.
Yeah. And but I look forward to reading Max's
diving back in, I believe.
He's doing a second one.
Well, he diving back in was his COVID swimming book.
I've got a couple of
signed
ones if you
going
want
through the motions of publishing. I think we mostly finished the text. Now there's some refinement, and then there'll be a release. He's been teasing us with that news for some months.
Yeah.
One thing I've probably never asked you before. What brought you to Czech Republic? From Philadelphia, from your Jewish background. I did. I don't know if they do that.
I originally.
I think not.
I mean, as a painter and an artist,
Sure.
I knew that I wanted to live in Europe. I never felt in my skin in the States. But I was looking more towards Madrid or Rome. It was really a friend from Dresden who grew up coming to Prague quite often, and we were about to embark on a trip around Europe, and she said, "You belong in Prague." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And she goes, "You have the same black, dark, morbid sense of humor as the Czechs. You belong in Prague."
Yeah, I agree to that.
It's secretly Czech.
Well, I mean, and the thing is, I do have Slavic blood. My parents were both Eastern European. But she was right. And I got here and I realized she was right. But I also didn't want to get sucked into the expat community.
Yeah.
It's not that I didn't want to be part of it. It was more that I didn't want to be limited by it.
Which was very American back then as well.
Yeah.
It was heavily American influence, not the Brits and whatever.
Although the best chess players that I knew were Dutch and British.
Oh, wow.
But so I didn't want to get sucked into that, and so I got here. I was here for a week, and I left. I went down to southern Bohemia, and lived in Krumlov, where nobody spoke any English.
Similar thing to me. That's why I speak Czech.
That's why,
not Krumlov, but we were supposed to go to Germany, but we stopped over here for 3 months.
Yeah.
Basically, I came. My ex's Hayeka, her visa ran out, so I'd fallen in love. Came over. We went to Hutibod, which is in Vysočina, and we lived there for the first couple of months. And nobody had seen an English person. Never mind speak it. So I just remember for 6 weeks waking up crying every day, going, "What have I done?" I've got Marks and Spencers at home. And I could wear an Adidas tracksuit.
Of all the things the most.
Here they're wearing old bananas for coats. Yeah. It was weird. But, and I found myself just listening to a foreign language. Yeah. And it was like you needed a Babel fish to understand. And it was hard. you're putting a glove on there saying Rukovica,
Sure.
stool, and you're like, I can't get my head around it.
You'll see.
So that's why my Czech was so way more progressed than and also yours.
And that's the thing is, the majority of the people that I've met here over my 30 plus years, who do speak Czech, they either lived outside of Prague, or they took like a Charles University intensive course.
Sure.
Very rarely am I meeting anybody other.
There's not that many. There's not that many.
But I was in the same boat back in Philadelphia. My brother was promotion director of a radio station.
Okay.
So he was calling me up and being like, "Hey, do you want Lollapalooza tickets? I've got 38 of them, right? Oh, and 12 are backstage.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
no, I'm going to.
right. So I'm like, no, you remember the part of Czechoslovakia they break into in stripes? I'm gonna go move.
Yeah, I'm
there.
going to go and hang there.
The comment from my dad when I was leaving was that I didn't know where it was.
Yeah.
The Czech Republic didn't. And they went, are there still tanks on the street?
Yeah,
and I walked out the door when I was 21 and a half and went bye and not looked back since.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting point, Adam. You told us the relevance of the pink and blue in your book.
Yeah.
Would you care to explain? Talking of tanks.
Oh, yes.
You know what's bananas?
Go on.
So in the shop, the secret bunker souvenir shop, before I got this, you know what I had in my hand?
What?
A plastic tank. I swear. And it was a translucent tank and it had pink and blue in it. So I'm going to get it.
Yeah.
Because
we were talking.
That's just weird.
Look, we're in a simulation that was lazy code.
Yeah. That's lazy. Honestly, Adam, I had it in my hand.
I refer
and this
to
relates
lazy,
back to it.
I refer to lazy code all the time.
Yeah.
When I see the same person wearing the same outfit 3 times in one day.
You'll never see me do that.
But
that's bananas. But anyway, Adam,
no, I wanted the Czech version and the English version, if they were side by side in a shop.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be noticeably different.
It's a great idea because they're in 2 different languages.
And also,
which do you prefer?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny. I think that this works better for the Czech version.
Yeah.
I like the blue matte because it catches your eye in a way that.
That looks a better quality.
Yeah.
But that looks great in gloss, so it's just the combination's fab. Look,
and also I thought dohlobky was a better translation than just going like pomnožení.
Yeah, that's into the deep, isn't it? Into the depths.
Yeah. And
there's also another meaning to it as well if you watch Fake Taxi. But
Well, with the literal translation as well, it's almost like penetration. So which would apply for this book, but I think that Immersion.
That's a bit more dolphin friendly.
Exactly.
I'm getting an Uber straight home and getting into it.
Right.
But no, I'm really happy with it, and I mean I'm really. It's kind of funny because usually if you're working on a project, you always want to go back and make it better and better. And I from the time I thought I had it ready to the time I really did have it ready, it was a year and a half.
Wow.
But finally when I did put it out, I realized
it's truly a labor of love to invest that kind of time and effort.
And your first pass on any text is probably the most gutful, it's most honest. You can refine it, but you invariably refine it away from the authenticity
Yeah, but you also, in my experience, I found that I was trying to not show off my vocabulary, but I thought that like every page needed to be a masterpiece where I wanted it to be its own standalone piece of work, right? And I didn't realize that would prevent the flow of the story.
Got it.
And it goes a lot better when it feels like I'm sitting there next to you telling you the story, as opposed to trying to show off my vocabulary and how to best tighten an idea into as few words as possible.
And how, for the audience out there, and it's always, there are so many tools these days to go, but how do you get published? How do you do it? Do you fund it yourself? Did you get someone who comes to you? Who do you go to?
So the funny thing was, I went to the largest publisher in the country, and a friend of mine who had just published a book with them had given me the recommendation, and they said, well, we're interested, but first of all, this is our contract, and the contract was
we want everything.
Well, they wanted it actually even worse. They wanted they didn't want me to print it as high quality as I did, and if I did, I would be responsible for selling X amount of units, and if they didn't sell, they had the right to put them in a levný knihkupectví, which is and it would be then the cost of the book would be more than what they were being sold for, at which point I would have to make up the difference for the publisher in the book.
Yeah,
so
we can't be bothered marketing it, so it goes to levný knihy, and then you end up with a cost.
Exactly. Which, it's almost kind of like a Freakonomics model for them, which is they're going to make more money from it selling it cheaper, and they leave the cost for the higher printing.
Well, that's a horrible thing to do.
So, it's such a beautiful book. Why would you?
Defies logic. That way, because Adam's paying for it at this cost.
No.
They're putting it.
The other thing is that the Czech publishers really, they want to print Czech translations of English books that are successful, because that is going to be
because they get
more
volume.
profitable volume, and it's already marketed for them.
Yes.
So that's what they wanted, and that wasn't where I fit in.
Yeah.
Right. So I self-published it, but then I did find a publisher in the States, and they published it, and they put it in the different stores and so forth, and have the online sales. And then I got I realized I know how to market, so
just a bit.
So I mean, like, if I put more time into it, it sells very well in Berlin, Shakespeare and Sons, and it sells very well at the Globe and Shakespeare here and so forth.
Because obviously, East Berlin, post-communist kind. It's quite relevant.
Sort of affiliation there. Yeah,
exactly. So the thing is that I feel like I could be selling more if I had more time to put into it for marketing. But at this point right now, I'm happy with the amount of sales I've gotten, and I'm going to work on future books. And then when the future books come out, I'll be selling all three, that you'll be able to buy all three together, and then a larger publisher will get behind it. So I have offers now from other larger publishers, but I need to have 2 more books.
And is your intention to have it in more than Czech and English, or it is already?
You know what?
That's the beauty of it, because it's telling a story in this country.
Your American life.
Exactly. I mean, to be honest, this sold 15 times better than this, right? So I don't even know if I'll translate the next ones into Czech, because most Czechs can read English and prefer to read it in the native.
Well, also, I mean, the way I look, as soon as you said that, is this is more interested in English because it appeals to more people that don't know about that era. Whereas this is quite a depressing
a lot of them are here.
I mean, the
mindset,
Czechs who read it in Czech, for them, they get to see a period they lived through from a different set of eyes, and so they're like, "Oh, this is what this American guy was thinking about."
Because we didn't live the communism.
Sure,
we were right there just as they were coming out of it, and we lived it and loved it. Whereas they had the trauma.
Yeah. Well, not only that, but also
Choose
I was able to go to the States, work for a month, come back and live for a year.
Yeah.
And they didn't have that. And so, what we thought was super cheap was not super cheap for locals.
No, sure.
And I always tried to respect that when it was going on, but it still gave me a very different perspective. And so I think that there are Czechs out there that have read it in Czech, and it's the type of thing that, if I come out with 2 more books next time and have all 3 for sale and a larger publisher picks it up, I would swallow the cost maybe to translate them to Czech, just to have them available.
Just have a version of it available.
As an option.
But I don't expect that they would ever make any money.
All right.
And listen, time's marching. They can buy the books in the regular bookstores. We'll get a link from you.
In the so
it's possible to buy online.
Any tips to someone who not exactly the same as yourself, because you the in depth, but any lessons learned for people out there that are looking to get into graphic design, graphic noveling, graphic film?
Yeah, I mean, I think that right now it's the best time there's ever been to do it. I think that you need to find your niche, and I feel like you need to kind of, if you don't have a good story to tell, all the AI in the world is not going to help you.
Yeah, every man needs a good story.
Jesus, if I fail it, I get locked up though. That's the problem. I'm trying to keep my nose clean.
Exactly. So from Adam, we'll thank him for coming on, my man.
We're going to have you back for Randolph. We'll have a follow-up with this.
Yes, and we'll hear the stories.
Enjoy your macaron. I'm intrigued.
Exactly. So as we wrap up episode 4 of season 3, thank you for joining us. So from me, it's until you next time.
Yeah, it's good night for me. Good night from Xtelligence, and stay safe. Look after yourself. Good night.
See you guys.